Hello everybody, welcome into another lesson. Today we are going to solve inequalities by multiplying and dividing. So here we have 13a is greater than or equal to negative 26. Well, just like yesterday's lesson, you solve inequalities largely by the same methods you would use to solve a regular equation. So we have 13a, we want to get a by itself, we just got to divide both sides by 13. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. The left side, the 13's cancel out. You'll have a is greater than or equal to negative 26 divided by 13, that's negative 2. So a is a is greater than or equal to negative 2 would be your answer. And I got more. Alright, negative 15 is less than or equal to 5b. So we got negative 15 is less than or equal to 5b. Well, first I would switch it around where the variable is on the left-hand side, so we'll have 5b. So that means if negative 15 is less than or equal to 5b, that means 5b is greater than or equal to negative 15. So we had to switch the sign around since we're switching places with the variable and the number. So now we got this in a form we can work with. Well, we have 5b, we want to just get b, so we have to divide both sides by 5. So let's go ahead and do that here. On the left side, the 5's cancel out. You're left with b would be greater than or equal to negative 15 divided by 5. That's negative 3. So b is greater than or equal to negative 3. That would be the answer you get. All right. We got 144 is less than 12d. So we have 144 is less than 12d. Well, again, I would switch places with the variable and the number, so we'll have 12d on the left. But if 144 is less than 12d, that means 12d is greater than 144. That's what you would have. Now we got this in a form we can work with. Well, we have 12d. We want to solve for just d, so you divide both sides by 12. Well, left side, the 12's cancel out, so you're left with d is greater than 144 divided by 12. Well, that would just be 12. So d is greater than 12. That would be the answer you get. All right. $15 is greater than or equal to 3t. So we got 15 is greater than or equal to 3t. Again, I would switch places with the variable, and I put the variable on the left-hand side, so you'll have 3t. So if 15 is greater than or equal to 3t, that means 3t is less than or equal to 15. So we had to switch the sign. Now we got this in a form we can work with. You have 3t, you want to solve for just t, well, you got to divide both sides by 3 then. So on the left side, the 3's cancel out, you're just left with t is less than or equal to 15 divided by 3, that's 5. So you get t is less than or equal to 5 for your answer. Alright, we're about to get into some interesting ones here. We're about to really get into some interesting problems. We got negative 1/6 p is greater than 5. Alright, so we have negative 1/6 p is greater than 5. So this time we have a negative. Well, we have negative 1/6 p. We want to just find p. Well, you got to of course you multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of negative 1/6 is, well, negative 6. So you multiply each side by negative 6. Alright, so on the left-hand side, the negatives cancel out, so do the 6's. You're just left with P. And then on the right-hand side, you'll have negative 30. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Whenever you multiply an inequality by, multiply or divide the other side of an inequality by a negative number, it actually flips the sign. You had a greater than 5 times negative 6, it actually would be less than negative 30. So whenever you multiply or divide an inequality by a negative sign, it flips the sign. So P is actually less than negative 30. I got more examples of this. Alright, so let's see. We got 7 is greater than or equal to negative 1/14 h. Yes, so 7 is greater than or equal to negative 1/14 h. Well, let's switch the places with the variables around. So you'd have negative 1/14 h, but that would actually switch to less than or equal to 7. So we have negative 1/14 h is less than or equal to 7. Well, we want to solve for just h. So what you got to do, since you have negative 1/14 as the coefficient of h, you got to multiply by just negative 14, which would be its reciprocal. But of course, what you do to one side, you got to do to the other. Alright, so of course the negative 14s will cancel out. On the left side, you're just left with h, but you've gone ahead, you've multiplied by a negative number. It's going to flip that less than or equal to sign to a greater than or equal to sign. So negative 14 times 7, that would be negative 98. So h is greater than or equal to negative 98. That's the answer you would get. So, because again, I'm going to reiterate it, whenever you multiply or divide an inequality by a negative number, it flips the sign. Alright, negative 3m is less than 33. So we got negative 3m is less than 33, okay? Well, we want to just get m. Well, what we got to do is divide both sides by negative 3, which we'll go ahead and do that. Well, left side, your negative 3's cancel out. You're just left with m. But since you divided both sides by a negative number, it's going to flip that less than sign into a greater than sign. M would be greater than, what's 33 divided by negative 3? That'd be negative 11. So m is greater than negative 11. That's the answer you would get. And I have one more problem, and then that should be it for the day. This doesn't have to be a very long lesson. Doing these inequalities with multiplication and division are actually pretty straightforward. Alright, negative 8z is less than or equal to negative 24. Alright, so we got negative 8z is less than or equal to negative 24. Well, we want to just get z, so we got to divide both sides by negative 8. We'll go ahead, we'll do that. So the left side, your negative 8 cancels out, you're just left with z. But since you've divided both sides by a negative number, it flips that less than or equal to sign into a greater than or equal to sign. Then negative 24 divided by negative 8, that's positive 3. So z is going to be greater than or equal to 3. That would be the answer you would get. Z is greater than or equal to 3. So overall with inequalities, if you're dividing both sides or multiplying both sides of the inequality by a positive number, you leave the sign alone. If you're dividing or multiplying both sides by a negative number, you flip the sign. That's really all there is to it. The next lesson, we're going to do multi-step inequalities. So I hope everybody has a good day. Take care.